Welcome. In this video I want to talk about progress. We as a civilization have come too far. In fact, there's a long way to go, but we've come a long way from where we were maybe 500 years ago. And a lot of this happened in the past 100 years. So what really caused us to accelerate our progress in the past 100 years, or maybe say in the past 500 years? Humans have been around for thousands and millions of years, but the progress came only in the past 500 years. That's because there was a Renaissance, there was Enlightenment around the 14th and the 15th century, and there was a tradition of criticism. So in the past, criticism was something that was completely absent from the previous civilizations. So during the time of Enlightenment, humans understood that we are fallible species. The knowledge that we have is not infallible. It is full of errors and biases and so many other fallacies. So they understood that and tried to correct themselves by exposing them to criticism, because of which new knowledge was created, better ideas were born, better ideas replaced the traditional ideas, because of which we progress as a civilization, and here we are in 21st century. So I want to take you to a point in history where this all started, but unfortunately did not continue, and it had taken over 2,000 years for it to restart, and then here we are. So in the 5th century BCE, there was a city called Athens. It still is there. So in the 5th century BCE, Athens flourished. And that's because of democracy, and their rulers offered freedom to the people. And what democracy did was it promoted open discussion between different people in creating knowledge and political systems that were conducive to progress. So Athens in the 5th century was considered as the golden age. It attracted philosophers, architects, artists, playwrights, and so on. It attracted a bunch of smart, creative people who contributed to the history of Athens. So now, what this did was it created an environment, it created a culture, an open-ended culture of progress. Exact opposite to this was Sparta. Sparta had a closed-ended culture, a closed-ended civilization, and all the male children in Sparta were warriors. There were no playwrights, there were no historians, there were no architects or artists or philosophers or historians. So Sparta, all other jobs in Sparta were done by slaves, and they had a rigid tradition. They had a tradition of conformity rather than a tradition of criticism, because of which they did not progress, and eventually, unfortunately, Sparta would take over Athens and everything got extinguished. Just imagine if Athens had succeeded in spreading that culture of progress, that culture of evolution of ideas. Where would we be? We'd be probably exploring the stars like in Star Trek. So unfortunately that didn't happen. It only the process of enlightenment got restarted around 14th or 15th century with the Renaissance, and we started progressing, and here we are in the 21st century with all these amazing inventions and better systems of governance and society. So from this lesson, we learned that tradition and conformity are only going to keep us protected in a shell, and to progress, we need to let go of them, criticize them, ridicule them, and adopt better ideas that takes us beyond. So this story is adapted from David Deutsch's book, The Beginning of Infinity. Make sure you read that, and make sure you hit the subscribe button for better stories. And we got an infinity to explore. This is just the beginning. See ya.